Hi guys, welcome back to the Tomb of Illumination, Flat Earth Physics, discussing the expansion of our realm as you move south.
What now? Now in his last video, this guy said he should get the Nobel Prize in Physics. Well, I don't know about that, but he should definitely get the Dumbbell Prize.
Special Officer Duty reporting.
Because today's video is just complete insanity from beginning to end, so, shall we?
Shut up and sit down, you big bald f***.
Please subscribe.
That guy took the boys to Antarctica, had a thing on YouTube the other day, the final discussion, flat earth discussion or something or other, and he showed one of the flat earthers this map here of Australia, and then he showed them this picture of Australia and asked them which one was real, and the flat earther says that one. It just goes to show that these flat earthers aren't onto it.
Onto what? The actual shape of the Earth. Now, the flat Earth model relies entirely on the premise that the globe is fake, fabricated by NASA. Evil NASA. Check out the merch store. So why would any flat earther point at a globe and say that's the real Australia? Because in doing so, he's accidentally debunked his entire belief system.
They don't know what they're doing.
Oh, well, you said it, not me.
That image there, in relation to arcs of longitude, is the exact same image as this in regards to arcs of longitude.
Wait, so longitude lines, the ones that converge at the north and south poles on a globe, are the same as the ones on your magical space pizza map that just keeps getting wider until they hit the ice wall at the edge? That's not how geometry works, pal. That's like saying a straight line is the exact same thing as a curved one. It's not a debatable point. It's a geometry lesson you missed. And you brought your own visual aids to prove it to us.
It's understanding the expansion of our realm from north to south and disbelieving the comedy of this. I mean, people believe they live on a ball. They're accepting that everything expands to the equator and then takes a bit of a rest on the way through the tropics, because it doesn't expand anymore through the tropics, and then gets to Capricorn, and then decides, oh, we'll shrink back now.
The distance between longitude lines is widest at the equator. It's about 69 miles per degree. 69.
Well, ha.
And it shrinks to zero at the poles. It doesn't expand, take a break at the tropics and then shrink. Does he think the people who accept we live on a globe also believe longitude lines expand and shrink? Because on their own flat Earth map, the lines of longitude literally expand to an ice wall and then just disappear. So he's projecting his own map's flaws onto ours and then getting mad about it. You just can't make this stuff up, can you?
You've got to be completely bonkers. Most people don't think. But this is consistent. It expands southward equidistantly.
The azimuthal equidistant map isn't equidistant because its lines of longitude expand consistently. It's called that because it shows the distance and direction from a single central point, the North Pole. And on a globe, all lines of longitude converge at the poles. On the AE map, they just radiate out like spokes on a wheel that never meet. That's a fundamental inconsistency right there.
Everything in the field expands. You, trees, land, whatever. Land's fixed. Terra firma's fixed, but everything on it expands in the field because everything is of the light.
Is he just casually dropping a brand new law of physics? The law of the up to the light expansion? What the hell is he talking about? Now, I didn't see that in any of my textbooks. If everything on fixed land is expanding, that means at some point we're all just going to start spilling over the edge, does it? Or maybe the trees will start punching through the atmosphere. The whole thing is a contradiction, and it has no basis in anything. That's not science. That's just something you say when you don't have a clue.
Walter Russell told us that. Electromagnetic ether.
Do you know, flat earthers aren't exactly great when it comes to using up-to-the-date scientific arguments, are they? Walter Russell may have believed in an electromagnetic ether, but he was born in 1871, pal, and the scientific community disproved the existence of the ether with the Michelson-Morley experiment in 1887, which showed there was no medium through which light travelled. And Albert Einstein's theory of special relativity in 1905, well, that officially laid the concept to rest. So you're just trying to use a centuries old, already debunked argument to try and prove your point.
So, even the Bible, it talks about it. Yeah, in those days were giants, because they're referring to the southern hemisphere, comes north.
Well, nothing says I'm confident in my position like citing the Bible and mythology to explain something which already has a simple scientific explanation. What you're doing is like using a cake recipe to explain how your car's engine works. The two things are completely unrelated, and you look bonkers for even trying.
You're not flying around the sun on a ball. No, the field shrinks in. The southern stars come north. You don't see them in the tropics overlaying the northern star till you get to the northern side of the tropics. Then there's the star overlays. This is the forming of the constellations.
The reason we don't see the same constellations everywhere on Earth is because of the Earth's spherical shape. It's just a matter of perspective. Imagine you were stood in your backyard trying to look at the front of your house. You can't, because the house is in the way. It's the same with the cosmos. People in the northern hemisphere can't see the Southern Cross because the curved Earth is blocking their view.
So we're going to talk about one of our Patreons here, Dustin, talking to a new AI called Claude. And he's trying to get to the bottom of this expansion, trying to understand it, right? So this is question to old Claude. If I'm driving around a racetrack filming the crowd, so I've drawn this racetrack, because this is basically the same as the ecliptic plane. It's a circular racetrack. Right in the centre is the black hole. The first horse on the track from the centre is the sun. Okay? And all the energy comes out of the centre, like a clock. All the energy is from the centre, governed by the centre. So he's got the most energy.
Oh, no thanks, I've just eaten. I couldn't manage a word salad. Look, all he's doing is taking a bunch of terms like ecliptic plane and black hole and just mashing them together with zero understanding of what they mean. The biggest flaw, though, is the idea that there's a black hole at the centre of our solar system. Funny how no astrophysicist has noticed. It's just not true. At the centre of our solar system is a star, the sun. A black hole is a region of space-time with gravity so strong that even light can't escape it. And black holes don't generate or give energy, they consume everything around them.
And they're trying to tell you all the background stars are quicker than this guy here on the inside track. It's comedy, mate. I've explained, the sun is the quickest, okay? Even though on that Duffy show, I cocked up.
The sun doesn't need to be quicker than the stars, it just appears quicker because we're orbiting around it. And the stars and constellations that are visible to us change throughout the year because we're on a globe orbiting the sun. Our perspective changes. It has nothing to do with them being on some magical imaginary racetrack. That's just another empty claim from an empty mind.
So here's the racetrack, and he's talking about these two size tracks here. Now, so he's filming the crowd, and I'm driving fast enough to travel 360 degrees in a circle that is 1 mile in 1 minute. Will I feel like I'm going the same speed if I travel 360 degrees in 1 minute, but travelled a 1.5 mile circuit?
Ah, right, so you're trying to show us that the people who support you are just as stupid as you. Got it. But it is a perfect example of trying to use a flawed premise to prove an even more flawed conclusion. The answer to that question is a very simple and very definitive no. So in his hypothetical, you would absolutely not feel like you were going the same speed because the outer track is 50% longer. To complete it in the same amount of time, you would have to go 50% faster.
And the answer is no, you won't feel like you're going the same speed. and they give a few reasons here. And one of them here is they go on about what you'll feel in linear speed centripetal acceleration. I'm not understanding that centripetal acceleration.
Yeah, we can tell. Centripetal acceleration is the acceleration you feel when you're moving in a circle, even if your speed is constant. It's not about getting faster or slower, it's about constantly changing direction. Kind of like what you would expect if we were living on a gigantic rotating sphere.
If you're running around a circle, a small circle, you're only got centripetal, some sort of centripetal appearance, because you're finding your balance.
You know, I love flat earthers because when they can't think of an intelligent answer, they just make something up or try to discredit an established scientific fact. Centripetal acceleration is not an illusion or an appearance, I think he said. It's a real acceleration. It's a direct consequence of an object's inertia being acted on by a real, constant force that's pulling it towards the centre of a circle. Now, when you're driving your car on a circular on-ramp, you feel a force pushing you to the side of the car because you are literally being accelerated.
So I don't know what they mean pulling. There's no centripetal pull.
And what that means is you can't make it work on your preferred flat earth model, whatever the hell that may be, so it must be fake. So discredit rather than try to disprove.
It's all lies. When you work out the sun's the timekeeper. He governs the time and distance.
The sun's position in the sky is what defines our night and day here on Earth. A day is the time it takes for Earth to complete one full rotation on its axis. And as the Earth rotates, different parts of the planet face the sun, which is why we have time zones. And his claim that the sun governs distance is just pure nonsense. The sun does not decide how far away something is. Distance is a physical measurement, and it's completely separate from time. And his argument only makes sense on a rotating globe, which is the very thing he's trying to debunk. So he's accidentally proven our point for us. So, thanks.
Because we associate it with the time it takes the sun to get over our arc of horizon. 180 degrees, how long does it take? So they work on 12 hours. Check out my earlier videos. And it's all based on this nautical miles.
He's invented a new kind of physics now where time is measured in nautical miles. That's a new one, even from a flat earther. We measure a day based on the time it takes our planet to complete one full 360-degree rotation on its axis. The sun appears to travel 180 degrees across our sky from sunrise to sunset because the Earth is rotating, not because the sun is flying over our arc of horizon. A nautical mile is a unit of distance, you plum, not time. It's used for navigation, and it has absolutely no relationship to how long it takes the sun to move across the sky.
You expand with the field. That's why they came up with the Mercator map, and everything is all parallel. All arcs of longitude are parallel. And that's a good representation of the size of the continents and that.
He's trying to use the Mercator projection as proof of his expanding field theory, but is this guy on something? Because the reality is the opposite. The Mercator map is famous for distorting sizes, especially near the poles. It was designed in 1569 for navigation. So another bit of up-to-date information from a flat earther. And it's great for sailors because it shows lines of constant compass bearing as straight lines. But it's a terrible map for showing the actual size of continents. For example, on the Mercator map, Greenland looks roughly the same size as Africa. But in reality, Africa is 14 times larger.
But looking down as a whole, a planned view, you have to understand this. You have to understand the expansion.
There is no expansion, you clown, and I'm not going through all the reasons why again.
Woosah something for a second.
Woosah.
Woosah. People beat me up and people rape me. There is no heaven. There is no.
What do a screaming woman, Noah's Ark, and a couple of really stupid trick questions have in common? Well, they're all part of Ray Comfort's attempt to prove he's right about everything. But do his arguments stand up to scrutiny? Let's take a look, shall we?
Shut up and sit down, you big bald f***.
Please subscribe.
So what's going through my mind with a passionate heckler like this?
No idea, but when I saw your video, what went through my mind is that this is the perfect kind of content that demonstrates the crazy I talk about isn't just a niche phenomenon. It's out there, on the streets, for everyone to see.
Two things. The first is a sense of excitement because this is the best thing that can happen in an open-air situation.
So it's exciting that you get to upset somebody as much as you upset this woman.
Yes, Satan.
That's one way to look at it, I suppose, but if it were me in that situation, I'd probably be feeling bad about upsetting a perfect stranger to the point where she starts screaming and shouting at me in front of dozens of witnesses. But they do say there's no hate like Christian love, so we wouldn't expect any less from you, Ray.
I'm there to share the gospel, and having the crowd triple in size in seconds is wonderful. The second thing is this is a sensitive situation. The poor lady was beaten and raped, so I need to take note, special note, of 2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 24.
So, as always, Ray is trying to frame this encounter with the woman as a victory for the gospel and a test of his own patience, and he's citing 2 Timothy 2:24, and that verse is a guide on how to handle a sensitive situation like the one with this woman, because a servant of the Lord must not quarrel and must be kind to everyone, be able to teach, and be patient with difficult people. Is she being difficult? No, I don't think so, but we'll get to that soon. But this is just a classic case of cherry-picking scripture to justify a pre-planned tactic. But the problem is, Ray isn't gentle. He's using his standard script, which is highly combative and contains a set of trick questions designed to force a confession of sin. So he's using the verse not as a genuine guide for gentle teaching, but as a thin veil to cover a manipulative and ultimately unkind interrogation, because that's what it is.
And a servant of the Lord must not quarrel, but be gentle to all, able to teach, patient in humility, correcting those who are in opposition.
How do you correct somebody who just doesn't believe the same thing as you? And does that even need correcting? Aren't we all free to make our own choices? And see, this is why I dislike religion so much and why I'm not religious. Stop trying to force your beliefs onto other people who are quite happy not believing.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. Do you have time to talk about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ? Hey, don't run from the Lord. Where are you going?
You don't see me going around trying to force people to not believe in God, do you? No, you don't. Because unlike you, Raymondo, I don't actually care if somebody believes in God or not. But what I do care about is correcting Christians like you who claim the earth is only 6,000 years old and that there was a worldwide flood. Why do you care so much about what other people do or don't believe, Ray? What's your end goal?
You're a descendant of an ape.
Yeah.
That's what you believe.
Yep.
We'll also look at how to speak to someone who's convinced that he's the descendant of an ape.
Ray's argument is like a professional boxer getting in the ring to fight a cardboard cutout. He's not even dealing with real science. Instead of talking about the actual mountain of evidence for evolution, you know, like old bones, DNA and all that stuff that's been proven for decades, he just dodges all of it. He'd rather try and make fun of a person's ability to accept reality or science and then try to say that because they accept science, they must be a bad person. It's standard for people who cannot argue their position intelligently, isn't it, Ray? And FYI, we are not only descended from apes, we are apes. That's a fact.
It's important to know what evolution does for someone who believes it. It gives him license to fornicate because he's merely a primate who's procreating a species. And he wants to keep having sex with his gorgeous girlfriend and will therefore fight tooth and nail to justify it.
Well, if that's not the stupidest reason I have ever heard for accepting evolution as a scientific fact, then I don't know what is. The connection Ray's trying to make is completely fake. Evolution is a scientific fact about how life changes over a really long time, considerably longer than 6,000 years. It's a biology lesson, not a rule book for dating, you clown.
That's why we have to do what Jesus did in Luke 13. He took his hearers back to their responsibility towards God on Judgment Day. He told them that unless they repented, they would perish.
Okay, so now he's trying to say that his whole act is exactly what Jesus would have done. He's pulled a story from the Bible to try and make his street debate seem important and holy. The problem is, though, he's taking a Bible verse and turning it into a fear tactic. He's trying to say, oh, I'm just trying to warn you, like Jesus did, and you're all going to perish unless you listen to me. What happened to your gentle, patient conversation, Ray? You're acting like you're saving people, but what you're really doing is using a threat to get a reaction.
There is no heaven.
I said if.
There is no heaven.
Okay, how do you know? You believe God exists?
No, I do not believe
Are you
in
an
God.
atheist?
No, I am Buddhist. I believe that I have all of the powers that anybody who calls God, I have all of that within me. I was born with it.
Sure.
It's called the universe.
See, this is the kind of thing that drives somebody like Ray crazy because you can't really debate it with his normal tactics. She's not making a scientific claim or a historical claim. She's saying what she believes in her heart. And it's like trying to argue with somebody about their favourite food. It's not based on facts. It's a personal feeling. But a guy like Ray sees this and thinks, aha, I've got her. But he's just setting it up for one of his stupid trick questions. He's not trying to have a real conversation or understand her. He just wants her to say something that he can easily jump on.
I suffered. And people beat me up and people raped me because my mother was a single mother.
How strong you become because...
You right, I'm strong. There is no heaven.
Okay, how do you know? How do you know there's no afterlife?
How do you know?
Don't deflect my question.
You're asking me a question. I want to know how you know.
So just say I don't know and we'll
I
move
don't
on.
know.
Okay, so you don't know if there's an afterlife.
No.
Are you a good person? Will you go there if there is one?
Absolutely, I would go there.
Okay.
I am one of the best people on the earth.
So you're ignoring her story about trauma and the powerful statement that she found her own strength then. And you're not exactly showing kindness or patience like you said you would. Instead, you've just gone straight to your classic script. Now he asks, how do you know there's no afterlife? And he's not really looking for an answer. He's just trying to force her to admit she doesn't know, which he'll use to say her beliefs are weak. It's a classic trick that has nothing to do with her actual life experience. And the good person trap, it's just his most used and most dishonest move. He gets her to say she's a good person, which he'll then use to prove that she's a liar and a sinner using the 10 Commandments and the Bible. He's not having a real conversation. He's using a person's painful story as a prop for his show because he's a scumbag, and it goes completely against his own words about being gentle and patient.
You're a descendant of an ape.
Yeah.
That's what you believe.
Yep.
There's no proof for evolution. It's a belief.
There is. What are you going to say
Okay,
about
Liz,
fossils?
tell me the proof for evolution. What was in the beginning, Christian?
Really? The what was in the beginning switch is a cheap move, Ray, even for you. The topic was evolution, which is about how life on Earth changed over time. The question, what was in the beginning, is about the universe itself, which is a completely different topic. And Ray only does this to try and confuse people.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Because he knows he can't win an argument about evolution, so he jumps to a different, huge question that science is still studying. He's using the I don't know from science as a way to prove that his belief is the right answer. It's lazy, Ray. Change the subject to something no one has a complete answer for, and then just say God did it.
Started as a supernova, exploded.
Where did it come from?
Space.
No, where did the supernova come from?
You know, they don't really know yet.
Who doesn't know yet?
And nobody.
Supernova? Well, this time it looks like you're both wrong. But this is just another example of Ray and his old tricks. Find something that sounds complicated, pretend scientists have no idea what's going on, and then act like his beliefs are the only answer. He's taking one small thing that might still be a mystery and using it to try and say that all of science is wrong.
So, you don't know what was in the beginning, so you're in darkness about that.
I mean, in the beginning, it was just darkness.
Where did that come from?
It's darkness. It's darkness.
Where did the darkness come from?
Nowhere. Maybe like a different universe or parallel dimension.
Let's go with your belief, okay?
Yeah.
There was a big explosion, a big
Right,
bang.
right.
And rock came off the big bang, and what did that become?
It wasn't rock. It was minerals and things like that. Fusion.
Minerals, and where did they come from?
They came from a supernova exploding.
And they're very complex minerals, aren't they?
Yeah.
So who designed them?
Fusion.
You don't know.
Nobody designed them. It just kind of
Just happened.
science.
That's called blind
We're going
faith.
back
That's
to
a belief.
science.
Ray's whole argument is a mess of half-truths and lies. He tries to prove science is wrong by making up a fake timeline, pretending that the Big Bang made everything exactly as it is today, which is not what the Big Bang did. But he also says things like scientists have no idea where anything came from. And it doesn't help that the guy he's singled out isn't exactly knowledgeable on the subject either. He's using science doesn't know yet as proof that everything is a mystery. He's really just looking for a tiny gap in science's knowledge so he can shove his religious beliefs in there and say, see, God did it.
So, this rock with minerals on it came to this earth.
Right.
And then over millions of years, how long did it take to produce males and females and 1.4 million different kinds of animals, insects, birds, fish?
Billions of years.
So you think rocks produced giraffes, elephants, horses, cows, dogs, cats, human beings?
Ooh, someone's been listening to Kent Hovind, haven't they?
Not a doctor. Shh.
What science actually says is that life started as a simple, single-celled living organism that slowly, over billions of years, gradually changed and became more complex. Think of it like a tiny change happening in one generation, then another tiny change in the next, and another, and another. And over an insane amount of time, billions of years, those tiny changes add up to big ones, creating all the different animals we have today. He's just trying to make it sound crazy because he doesn't have an actual scientific argument. He'd rather you believe a fake story than face the facts, which all demonstrate how wrong he is about everything.
All producing after their own kind with seasons, the air, the sun, the moon, the stars, the fruits. All that came because of a big bang in space that nobody knows how it got there. That's called blind faith, and I'm a skeptic. I wouldn't believe it if you paid me. See, you've got a big problem. In the beginning was God. He said, let there be light. And God created man in his own image.
But who created God?
Oh dear, creationists really don't like the who created God question. Now, Ray says he's a skeptic and he wouldn't believe it if you paid him to. But a real skeptic questions everything and follows the evidence wherever it leads, even when it's uncomfortable. Ray doesn't do that. No creationist does. They just blindly believe the Bible and then they go out and try to prove it by picking fights with people.
No beginning, no end. He created time.
Who says who?
He's eternal. He did.
Did you catch that then? The guy said who created God and Ray's dodging answering him. But what he did just say is, how do we know God created God? Well, it's because God said he created himself.
Jesus said if you look with lust, you commit adultery in the heart. Have you ever looked with lust?
Oh, yeah.
Have you had sex before marriage?
Oh, yeah.
So, Cindy, I'm not judging you, but you're not a good person. You're like the rest of us by your own admission. You're a lying, thieving, blasphemous, fornicating, adulterer. No wonder you don't want to believe in God's
Who made those rules up? Who made that up?
Must have been God. I mean, he made everything else up, according to Ray.
Something called religion.
But they don't understand how powerful this message is, how powerful Flat Earth is, that it will shut down the economy.
Shut up, you little bellend.
CC's back with a claim so stupid I don't really know where to start. So let's explore the claim that the global economy is just one Flat Earth video away from total collapse.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone?
What's the procedure?
Stay calm.
Shut up and sit down, you big bald f***.
Please subscribe.
These are the last weekends of summer. I'm sorry. Back from vacay. That's right. Well, it wasn't much of a vacation, but at least I had time off of work, which I hate. It's as simple as that.
Well, I'm glad you got a little time off, Chris. A break from the grind is always a good thing, no matter how brief. Now that you're back in the saddle, are you ready to get back to, making completely insane claims on the internet?
A couple things I want to discuss with you.
Okay, we're listening.
Well, one thing here, this is what pisses me off here now in New York. I don't know if you live in New York, if this has taken place yet in your neighborhood, but it sure will soon. They have now digitized parking. That's right. You remember the meters that you could put quarters in? Well, they're still there to make you think you can put a quarter in, but then you look up on top and there's nothing happening.
Hello?
Well,
Where is everybody?
most flat earthers have got nothing up top.
I'm the only brain cell left.
no change is being screened to tell you when you have to move your car. Paying for a parking spot that you've already paid for with your taxes. That makes sense, huh?
Well, in that case, the Earth must definitely be flat. Now, I have no idea what any of that's got to do with flat Earth, Chris, but isn't that just a classic piece of low-hanging, paranoid fruit? You've paid for the road and the curb, which are public infrastructure, but you haven't paid for a guaranteed exclusive spot, no matter how high your taxes are. If that were the case, nobody would ever find a parking spot in New York, and I've parked there. It's not easy. Or cheap. I think it was like $75 an hour.
Oh, no way!
Way!
But anyway, so I'm trying to explain to the woman, I don't want to give my personal information out because I'm afraid I'll get hacked. She's like, oh, well, you don't have to worry about it with our company. Oh, okay, I don't. So when some hacker from Russia decides to hack your company, okay, and they do all the time, they've done it with MasterCard, Visa, name it, they've done it, and they get all your personal information, your credit card information, your address, your phone number, all your good stuff, all the goodies, you're in trouble.
First of all, the idea that a parking company is a prime target for hackers is just completely nuts. Hackers go after the most valuable data. Your address and phone number are already floating around on dozens of other services you probably use every day, like pizza delivery or online shopping sites. If a hacker wants to find you, they're not going to bother with a parking app. And secondly, the comparison to MasterCard is just a classic case of false equivalence. A global financial institution which handles trillions of dollars in transaction and holds deeply sensitive primary financial data is a lot more appealing to hackers than a parking app, Chris. The fear here is completely out of proportion to the actual risk. If you're worried about giving away your personal information, you'd have to stop using almost every digital service that exists. But let's be honest here, the real problem for conspiracy theorists isn't hackers, it's being forced to do something slightly new and different.
Anyway, so let's talk about history, about the history that you think you know. That's right. This is the history that they told us, that everything was built thousands of years ago, pyramids, all this good stuff, you know, thousands of years ago, our ancestors built these beautiful, amazing fucking buildings.
Hey, potty mouth, pack it in.
Fucking goat outside.
It's just a goat.
No, it's a fucking goat.
An architectural... here's the cop too. This is great. Architectural engineering that is beyond any technology that we have now.
Oh, I really hope he's going down the ancient aliens route. First of all, let's be clear, we absolutely could build the pyramids. We just choose not to. What you're saying is a bit like saying a horse-drawn carriage is superior to a Ferrari because you don't need gasoline. Ancient builders were brilliant, but their methods relied on massive manual labour, simple machines like levers and ramps, and an unbelievable amount of time. It was the most efficient way to build with the technology they had. But it's a testament to human grit, not some lost technology. Our current architectural and engineering feats dwarf anything built in the ancient world, not just in size, but in the complexity and precision. Think about the Burj Khalifa in Dubai or the Hoover Dam.
I mean, you figure people would just wake up with that one little thing.
What little thing? All you've done so far is complain about the cost of parking in New York and say that we couldn't build the pyramids even if we wanted to.
Oh, and I'm sorry, today is Friday. It's a Think About It Friday, you know. These are all things to think about just in case if I'm unable to put a video out this weekend.
You know, that's another thing I've noticed with Flat Earthers, Cece in particular. He's really good at giving people advice. Now, the advice is usually terrible, but it's just a pity he can't take his own advice. Maybe then people like me wouldn't be able to so easily make fun of him.
All the beaches are closed here because Hurricane Erin, I think it is it's not gonna, don't worry guys, you're all right. North Carolina, South Carolina. Don't worry, it's going out to sea. You don't have to worry about it. It's just bringing waves that are incredible. Don't you want to go down to the ocean? I do, but the beaches are closed, okay? What the fuck are you going to do? Sit there with a blanket and a tent looking at what you could be in? 15-foot waves? I would love to be in that ocean.
And we'd love to see you in that ocean. I'm assuming you can't actually swim though, Chris, because that would be terrible.
You see, these are all things that lead to flat Earth.
What? Car parks, the pyramids, and Russian hackers lead to flat Earth?
See, they not only have to hide flat Earth, but they have to hide our history. Because if we understand how the civilizations live around here before us, that had technology beyond our technology, we'll wake up. Where did they go? What happened to them? Why did they just disappear?
The idea that history is being hidden is just a piece of fiction. Historians, archaeologists, and anthropologists dedicate their lives to uncovering and sharing our history. We've got a pretty good handle on what happened to these civilizations, and it's far less exciting than an alien abduction or a global cover-up. Civilizations don't just vanish into thin air, Chris. They decline, migrate, are conquered, or face environmental collapse. For example, the Mayan civilization didn't disappear. The cities were abandoned due to a combination of climate change, deforestation, and warfare. So those people didn't just vanish, they just adapted and moved. So they aren't hiding history at all. History is right there in the books, in the museums, and in the scientific journals. But actually learning and understanding it takes significantly more effort than just pressing play on a flat Earth video.
Well, you would be told that there was a famine that came out, and there was a bottleneck theory. Bullshit. There wasn't anything like that. Okay? Civilizations disappeared. They left behind anything they could. Our civilization, we have nothing.
You're complaining that the carefully curated, most durable remnants of ancient civilizations with the entirety of our modern civilization. That's like looking at a fossilized dinosaur skeleton and declaring, see, they were just bones. They had no skin, no organs, no nothing. Our modern animals have skin, organs, so we're clearly leaving behind more than the dinosaurs did. The reason ancient civilizations left behind anything they could, Chris, is because only the most durable materials like stone, bone, and pottery survived for thousands of years. We have no idea what their fleeting digital lives were like because they didn't have any. Our civilization is leaving a legacy on a scale the ancients couldn't even dream of. To claim our civilization is leaving nothing behind is to completely misunderstand the concept of legacy. We aren't just leaving behind buildings, we're leaving behind a complete record of our existence.
We've got these rinky-dink buildings which will be destroyed with maybe 100 years. They'll all be destroyed. Those brick buildings, once vines get on them and Pachysandra, it's done. It'll just be eaten apart, okay? None of this will survive. The only thing, and they knew this, the only thing that will be going on to the next civilization so they could see that there were previous civilizations is stone. Writing in stone. That's it. Computers aren't going to last. Floppy disks aren't going to last. Cassette tapes are... None of that's going to last. Unless if it's in a stainless steel box buried beneath us 200, 300 feet.
I love Chris. Firstly, the idea that brick buildings will be destroyed by vines in 100 years is a comedy routine, pal, not a serious claim. Modern construction with materials like reinforced concrete and steel is designed to last for centuries, not just a lifetime. We build for function, efficiency and safety. A skyscraper that can withstand earthquakes and hurricane-force winds is far more advanced and more enduring than a pile of rocks. And then there's the claim that computers won't last, so we should go back to carving in stone. Chris, you've stumbled into a real problem but completely butchered the solution. Historians and archivists know that physical media degrades. That's why we have entire fields dedicated to data migration and digital archaeology.
Good luck. None of it's going to last to show the next civilizations. All this digital era, gone. Internet, gone. It's all gone. I don't even know how the fuck I got into this shit.
We do.
You're fucking nuts!
But it all has to do with flat Earth, okay? That's all it is. They have to hide this from you. You can pick up the signs. You can see the signs. But it all has to do with flat Earth. It all has to do with your potential. How much potential you have.
Oh, well, that's very kind of you, CC. I like to think I have potential. But as far as any of this pointing to the Earth being flat, I'm afraid I don't follow your logic. Because for any of what you've said to be true, then you'd need a secret cabal who would be hiding the shape of the Earth, the real history of ancient civilizations, and the true purpose of parking apps, which would require the cooperation of every scientist, every historian, every government across the world, and tech company. That's not a conspiracy, that's a logistics nightmare of epic proportions. Ultimately, the key to flat Earth isn't the key to understanding the universe. It's at the end of a rabbit hole for people who prefer simple, comforting fictions to complex, inconvenient facts.
That's the most important part. We're not this little insignificant piece of dust on a spinning wet ball in space. Because that makes you feel small. No, makes you feel helpless, scared.
Bloody hell, Chris, that's a bit much, isn't it? But that's the heart of the matter, isn't it? It's not about the science, the history, or the data. It's about a feeling. The fact that we are a tiny, fragile species on this incredible planet, hurtling through a magnificent and baffling cosmos, and yet have the intellect, sometimes, and the curiosity to understand it, measure it, and even reach out into it, is the very definition of potential. There's nothing more empowering than knowing you're a conscious part of something so vast and mysterious. The real feeling of helplessness comes from a worldview where you have to fear a secret conspiracy hiding the very ground you stand on. A world of facts and validated information is a world of power and discovery. The world CC and other flat earthers want is one where you're trapped in a simple story, too scared to look up and see the universe for what it truly is.
The blue sky. Why is that blue, Chris? I'll tell you why it's blue. Because it's an ice sky. That's what it is. We're covered with something. An ice dome? I don't know.
Oh, so not due to something called Rayleigh scattering then. But at least we found the title for this video.
I haven't been up there. I can't get up there. And you don't even know that could be the sun's ultraviolet rays. That's what's causing it blue. No. Is that why it's red on Mars? Oh, Mars. When are you guys going to Mars, guy? Wait a minute. It's 2025. Elon Musk said we should have been there by now, right? Or at least hell on our way.
Just because you haven't been up there, that doesn't mean that no one has. Your personal experience isn't the final arbiter of reality. And while you're close on the ultraviolet part, you're missing a key detail. Ultraviolet rays are indeed part of the sun's energy, but they're mostly absorbed by the ozone layer. It's the visible blue light in the spectrum that gets scattered by the tiny gas molecules. Molecules? What's a molecule? Molecules in our atmosphere, making the sky blue. As for Mars, you've stumbled into the perfect counterpoint to your own confusion. The sky on Mars is red for an entirely different reason. Mars's atmosphere is thin and full of fine dust particles made of iron oxide. These particles are much bigger than our atmospheric gases, and they scatter red light, which is why the Martian sky has that rusty red glow.
That didn't happen, did it? Where's the last moon landing? Oh, you missed out on that one, right? We tried a couple of times, but it got scrubbed. And then NASA got canceled. That's right. I think Trump brought NASA back. I don't know. He's got to know what the fuck is going on. He's got to know. But I don't, at this point, I think some people out there, you can literally show them something and they still won't believe it.
You mean like when I show flat earthers like you the thousands of different ways in which they are wrong and yet they still insist that the earth is flat? Yeah, I hate that as well. It's a phenomenon called the backfire effect, and it's a well-documented part of how we're wired. When a deeply held belief, like flat earth, is challenged with contradictory evidence, it doesn't always lead to a change of mind. Instead, it can make that person double down and hold on to their belief even more tightly. For some people, the truth isn't the goal. A sense of certainty and belonging is.
They'll still go through life with it, but they don't understand how powerful this message is, how powerful flat earth is, that it will shut down the economy once it gets out. Every school will be shut down. Every financial district will be shut down because they don't know what to make of it.
The grand finale of the if only they knew fantasy. We've circled back to the single most powerful piece of creative fiction in the entire video. The so-called power of the flat earth message isn't going to destroy institutions. All it's going to do is entertain people who get a good laugh out of it. The global economy, education, and every other institution would just continue to function exactly as they always have. And people like us will continue to laugh at you. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you again next week. Love you. Bye.
That's all, folks.
A mate of mine has made an absolute fortune from booze. I reckon he's insider trading.
I don't think so. No, 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 no. I don't think so. No, 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 no. It's never, ever, 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 ever